My channel, and today's video is a room makeover, I'm so excited. You know how much I love a room makeover. This room is my spare room. So my spare room had a bit of a makeover before. It is actually already on my channel. It was a bit of a sort of budget makeover. I upcycled the existing bed, I made some artwork, I did loads and loads of DIY. And the thing is, it was great, it was fine, but the room had no real like personality. I didn't paint anywhere, I didn't really do anything that exciting. And the big thing was the bed. I'd had that bed since about 2006. It was a cheapy old IKEA bed that has had about 4 incarnations. It's been painted so many times. And the big thing about it is this is not the biggest room in the world, and I wanted to maximise the space, and that bed is actually a big bed. IKEA sizes are a lot bigger than standard. It was eating a lot into the room. The mattress was a lot smaller than the bed, and it really was starting to fall apart. So I thought it was about time that I got myself a proper bed, and I was really lucky that Lara Duke got in touch and asked about a bit of a collaboration, and so I've actually created some content for them around making your spare room look as big as possible, but that's over on their blog. But I thought over here on my YouTube I would show you the whole makeover from start to finish. I'm going to be getting some new furniture, new furnishings, and I'm going to be painting a feature wall. You know how much I love a feature wall, and I reckon all of that is just going to A, make the room feel loads bigger, and B, give the room some personality. So yeah, let me give you a tour of what the room is like now. So here's a little look round at what we've got now. So it's a bit of a weird shaped room. It has this kind of L shape here, and that's because there's built-in wardrobes there. But in this corner I kind of utilised it as a hanging area, so I actually built this little coat rack, hook rack, so that when people come and stay they can hang up their coats and things like that. This isn't going anywhere. The only thing I'm debating about is I may take it off the wall and paint this a different colour, but it's so useful. I still really like these wooden and resin. These are actually doorknobs from a place called Home Sense. There is a DIY of how to do this. I will link it in the description box. But yeah, that's going to stay because it is very useful. I also have got a waste paper basket here, which again, useful, and that's not going anywhere, and a little vase of PAMPASS, not sure about that. But essentially the vibe in here was always, it was kind of like slightly jungly, lots of rattan, lots of natural stuff, and I am going to keep a lot of elements of that. I don't want to get rid of everything. I'm not sort of like, don't want to be reckless and just throw away everything I've got. Now this bed, I shall show you. This bed is huge. It's much bigger than it needs to be. It has been painted, I think 3 or 4 times. This is its 4th incarnation with this DIY upholstered headboard. But it is sort of falling apart. Underneath all the slats, they are bowing a bit. It is a bit rickety. So my mattress is too small for it, and the bed really does jut out, and when guests come and stay they do knock their legs on it because the gap between the bed and the wall is not that big. So I'm a bit like if you come over to this corner, the same thing. It's like, why am I eating so much into the room when I don't need to? So one of the first things I'd thought about was always getting a new bed that is just a standard double size, which isn't so big, which doesn't eat into the room as much. And I really want to maximise the space that this little spare room has, because it's not the biggest room in the world. And as much as I love the headboard, the other thing I wanted is a bed with an open headboard. I honestly think that if you have a headboard where you can see through to the wall, it just doesn't dominate the room as much, and therefore the room looks bigger. I feel like there's a bit too much furniture in here. I think I'm going to go down to just 1 bedside table because I don't need 2 really, because it's quite rare that I have 2 guests stay over. So I'm going to try and do lots of little things that maximise the space and give the room a bit of a refresh. So yeah, bed is the first one. Mattress I'm keeping. This linen bedding, sheets I'm definitely keeping. But I think I'm going to go for some new bedding that's maybe's got a bit of interest to it, maybe some design to it rather than plain white. I'm probably going to sell this bedside table. I'm going to get a new bedside table, again from La Redoute. The bed is going to be from La Redoute, bedside table from La Redoute. So I'm going to sell these two on Facebook Marketplace so somebody else can use them. I'm going to be keeping the light, and the light is actually old La Redoute, but it slightly forms the basis of my new design, which is black and off-white, and still sort of some browns and neutrals. So as I've done in other areas of the house, I am going to be painting a feature wall. Yes, I'm putting paint to wall, and I'm really excited because this is actually going to be probably the boldest feature wall that I've done in the house, and the landlord has approved it. So I'm just waiting for the paint to turn up. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be getting some new curtains that are a bit lighter. These again were a DIY. They were actually curtains I already owned, which I then dyed, and they have sadly faded quite a lot in the light. So everything's just looking a bit ratty, a bit scraggy. It's great because I did it all on a budget, and now, you know, maybe I've got a little bit more money to spend on the room, and so I thought now's the time to do something a bit jazzy. So there's a couple of places, this is actually on the opposite wall, I don't know if you can see this, where there's a really, really big paint drip, and there's a couple of bumps and lumps on the wall that I'm going to paint the feature colour. So one of my first things I'm going to do, once I've cleared out the furniture and I've dismantled the bed, is actually just to prep the wall. I'm going to sand any dodgy bits, filler any holes, tape off around the top so I get a really, really neat finish, and repaint any white bits that are looking a bit decidedly dodgy. I think I'm definitely going to repaint this radiator as well. It's looking very yellowed. And I repainted my radiator down in my kitchen, and it's just made all the difference. So yeah, very excited to see how this room's gonna turn out. So let's get cracking. And it is the next day. So the room is a bit of a bomb site, but the bed is collapsed, and I sorted out the window and whatnot. But then what I spent the rest of the day doing was sorting out various holes and bumps on the wall before I paint them. So the main problem is that the people before, I'll show you on the other wall actually. So this wall, it's really hard to see, but this wall is the wall that the bed faces, and it's just plain white, there's nothing on it, and so all of these lumps and bumps really, really stood out, and they've always bugged me, and a lot of people wouldn't bother fixing them because it's a rented house, but I'm a perfectionist, guys, and I like things to be done neatly, and it really bugs me when people make these DIY mistakes. And basically what they've done is, the previous tenants, they've obviously had things fixed to this wall, they've used wall plugs, and when they've left, what they've done is they've just stuck some filler, taken the screw out, filled the hole full of filler, left the wall plug in, and then they hadn't even sanded the wall. The bumps were just awful, they looked so horrible. So what I spent yesterday doing was I actually sanded the wall with my big orbital sander. Some of these raw plugs now, there's no point trying to get them out. Some I did get out. So down here, I actually pulled this raw plug out because it was such a big bump. I pulled it out, and then I've sorted and fillered the hole much neater and smoothed it all off. So these ones I have just properly sanded right back with my sander, and then I fillered in with some filler any of the sort of cracks. And there was some sort of other areas of cracking and things that I filled and tried to really smooth out. And now today's job is actually to repaint this wall. I was only going to patch paint, but I just think, you know what, I'm just going to repaint the whole wall, why not? There's some areas up there above where the window is that are a bit dodgy, and I just want everywhere to look super neat. And I may touch in a couple of areas of the skirting board as well. So that's today's job. The paint still hasn't arrived. It's so frustrating. I am on a bit of a tight deadline for this project with Lara Doot, but I'm getting everything else ready, so hopefully when the paint does turn up I can just stick it on the wall. So if I get all of this done first, then I'm going to tape the wall ready, and then it'll literally be a matter of just painting. So I'm actually utilising this board, which was on the made over bed. I'm utilising it just to protect the floor where I'm painting. This is the paint that my landlord left me. This is what the majority of the wall was painted in. This stuff is trade paint. It literally covers anything, but it is super pricey, and I don't have a huge amount of it left. So I've decided what I'm going to do is for these areas here, where the plaster's quite exposed, I'm going to use this and block those out, and then I'm going to do general coverage in just a general white paint. Now the key was, this is proper cheap white paint, and I've actually bought this myself. Hang on. Oh, can I spin it? This is B&Q's cheaper paint, so it's not going to be very thick at all. But the key is that my house is actually painted in white. It is not painted in brilliant white. So the trick is to find yourself a paint that matches. So I've obviously bought just a basic white matte paint, and that means that it shouldn't stand out too much from all the other walls, but it means I can just give it general coverage. The rest of the walls don't need the obliterating emulsion, they just need a brightening up. So that's the plan. Obliterate the dark bits with the obliterating emulsion, and once that's dried, then do a general coverage on all of the walls with this cheapy paint. Also, I'm only going to be using a little small roller, which is probably like the worst idea ever because it's actually quite a big room, but I do much prefer a smaller roller. But it has got a nice thick emulsiony sleeve on it, and also ignore my foam pinging. And also I bought this new tray, and I really like this because it's much deeper. I'm forever getting paint coming over the sides, especially if you accidentally do this. So really happy with this. I'm going to reserve this for white paints only, but this is a little B&Q thing. Usually I reuse my trays and I just line them with cling film or tin foil or something like that. Okie, it is the next day. I am so excited because even though it's Sunday, my feature wall colour has arrived. Hooray! Bang on, well, not bang on schedule, but it hasn't put me behind schedule, and it means that today, on this absolutely gorgeous sunny day, I can paint the wall. So I'm going to show you where I'm up to, and then I need to prep the wall ready with some masking tape. It's not my usual favourite. I would like to use frog tape, which is a much better tape rather than this cheap masking, but this is all I've got and I want to get it done today, so I'm just going to do it quite carefully with this. So let me show you where I'm up to. Okay, so it's quite hard to see because it is just literally a big white room, but over here this wall is all painted and it's just so much better. It had all of these horrid lumps and bumps. I mean, it really doesn't come across on camera, but it was so bad. And the paint that I used was such a good match. It's such a bomb sign here, but it was such a good match, that cheap paint. I used a slightly more expensive paint to obliterate. There's still a couple of areas that I still need to just touch up. But it looks amazing. So I've gone round and I've touched up everywhere. I basically repainted all the walls really.
I repainted the windowsill in oil-based. That has gone off overnight. That looks great. Also, the radiator is looking really smart. I also went round and did the skirting boards. I didn't solidly paint the skirting boards, I just touched in bits. Over here, this wall is the one that I'm painting. And when I was painting up the top here, I spotted 2 more of those awful, I mean there's loads of them, look. Raw plugs in the wall and sand fillered over. It just winds me up. Anyway. This one up here, the raw plug was sticking right out, so I had to pull it out and it left a massive hole, and so I've been fillering it bit by bit because you can't just chuck a load of filler in there if it's a deep hole. You've got to do it gradually. So this is the 3rd amount of filler now, which we're on to sort of levelling the surface. So I need that to go off and then I can sand that. But yeah, my job is to mask the whole way round. I'm also going to be doing, drilling some holes up here for a lamp. So I have lifted the plug socket off for 2 reasons. One, so I can paint right down, I don't have to masking tape. But also I wanted to see which direction the wires go, because obviously I don't want to drill into wires. And the wires actually for this plug socket go down into the floor. So that's great. That means I can drill up here, not worry about hitting electric cables. Over here for this plug socket, I'm just gonna masking tape round. So yeah, so I'm gonna be using Rust-Oleum chalky wall paint again. You'll remember this from, let me think, my living room makeover. I also painted it in my bedroom makeover. I do work with them a lot over on Instagram, but this is just a gifted item. So they've gifted me this wall colour to do this spare room, and I've gone a little bit bolder than usual. So here were my choices. These were the 3 samples that I bought. I painted them on this bit of white paper next to each other so I could see, and I did put it on Instagram and do a little bit of a vote. But I wanted a much bolder feature wall, something a little bit darker than the rest of the house. So I felt this was a little bit too dark. So it was really down to these 2, and like in the end I went for butterscotch because I put this next to some of the elements that I picked for the room, and this sort of worked the best. So that's what I'm going to be painting, this colour butterscotch, which is this lovely sort of warm, well, butterscotchy colour. So as you know from using this paint before, it goes on lovely and thick. So I think I'm only going to need 2 coats of this on this wall, and I'm hoping that in this weather it will dry pretty quick so I can smash this feature wall out in one day and get the bed built today. I would love that because the bed is taking up a lot of room downstairs in all of its boxes, and obviously I can get this mattress out of the way and everything. I did debate about painting the whole room this colour, and I suspect that if this was my house, I maybe would do more of the room in a colour, but it's just even more to have to paint over when I leave. So I think a feature wall is a good compromise. It creates a bit of colour, a bit of interest without having the big job when you leave. So yeah, gonna tape up the wall and then crack this paint open and get going.
Okay, so it is now time to build the bed. It is actually several weeks later because I had a few problems with the bed parts, but let's not go into that. Everything's here now and I am ready to assemble it. It looks absolutely beautiful and I'm so happy with this feature wall. It's going to look great on there, so let's get cracking. Okay, so I've got this new bedside table, and one of the things I want to do, partly to save space, just, you know, because it looks nice, I've got this amazing, if it'll focus, this amazing wall light, also from Laradoo. Now, if you're in a rented property and you want to have a light like this, but obviously you can't start wiring this into the wall, I saw this amazing hack on Medina's Instagram. I'm going to link her in the description box because credit to her for this idea. But basically you can buy these little battery powered lights that are controlled by remote control, which means all you've actually got to do is put up a couple of little screws to put this in the wall. You've not got to wire it in, and then you get that look of that sort of wall mounted bedside light, but it's a lot more renter friendly. So look, I've got finger marks all over this. But so I need to, now that the bedside table's in, I need to work out whereabouts I want this on the wall. This is always a tricky thing when you live on your own and you can't hold it on the wall and get somebody to stand back and say, oh, higher, lower, higher, lower. So I'm probably going to put my camera on and flip the screen and have a little look in it. So yeah, let's do that now, and then we can mark. It looks like it's just the 2 holes that I've got to do, so that's all right. But I think this is going to look so nice. So here is the little battery powered light. So it's actually a set of 6, but I'm obviously only going to use 1. There's a little sticky pad and there is a little remote, but also, so they're just battery powered. You just twist that off the back and put the batteries in. But you can also just press them to turn them on. But on the remote you can change the different temperatures, strength, you can put a timer on, all sorts. So super nifty. Stuck it in there, you can make it more powerful. This is on cool at the moment. You could also change it to warm. Really nifty, and not too expensive either. Okay, so on the bed at the moment is actually the bedding. It's not actually on. So I've actually ironed, well, slightly ironed, the bedding and the curtains, although the curtains look massively creased now. And I lay them on the bed. I'm going to steam them once I hang them as well. Definitely going to have to steam that now. But one of my other jobs before I do that is to put in a hole for this mirror. So I got this mirror from Asda, George at Home. I just really like the fact it's got a little shelf, because one of the things that I'm doing is getting rid of a second bedside table just to make the most of the space in here. So instead this is going to hang here on the wall, and that means this person on this side, if they've got anything they want to, you know, put down at night, they can put it on the little shelf of the mirror. I'm also going to put a folding chair in here, so if you did want to really lay some clothes out or anything like that, you could fold out the chair. So now I believe that over here there is already what could be a hole. This might be just a little pinhole, but I'm actually going to utilise that. I think it's pretty central to the wall, and I may as well utilise a hole that's already there. So I need to drill into this and pop in a little raw plug, and then I'm actually going to pop in a screw and paint the screw white, so that when the mirror's hanging, the sort of screw blends in with the wall. So that's a job to be done. Really bright and sunny today, so it's looking weirdly dark in here, but it's not. It's beautiful and light. Oh, the other thing was that in the middle of the night, the sticky light plopped out from there. So I think I'm going to need to do something a bit more permanent, because it's obviously it's not stuck to much. It was only stuck to the rim of that plastic thing. So I'm going to take down that light later and possibly hot glue that little light in, but I'll show you what I end up doing. So these are my new curtains. They're like a lovely beige colour. They're not a linen. I can't remember what it describes it as. Hang on. Oh no, they are linen. So they're linen and viscose together. I was going to say they've definitely got a linen look, but they've got tab tops, which I love. It's just really neat. You just slide them onto the pole, but they're also sort of black outlined as well. So this room will be lovely and dark. So I've hung one curtain. Really needs a good steam, but that's not a problem. I'll get my steamer out. But yeah, they're a great length. I used to have floor length curtains. I've now gone with this length curtains because I feel like when you can see the floor, it just makes the room look a little bit bigger. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the length of them. Don't need to take them up or anything. They sit fine. So yeah, let's put this other one up. So the bedding's on. I think it looks really, really nice. Now the only thing is about Laraduke bedding is it's a little bit of an odd size. This is a double. It's a tiny, weeny bit small in one direction for my double duvet, but it's really not the end of the world. It just kind of, you just got more at the bottom. Last few finishing touches now, and then I'm going to show you the finished room. So I might just do those and then skip to the big reveal. Okay, and here is the finished room. I'm so pleased with it. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. So let's just show you around. So obviously we've got the feature wall here in that lovely butterscotch colour. The light is one I already had. It still goes in the room, which is great. I've put my artwork back up. These were actually a DIY, but I think I might DIY something else that's black and white to sort of match in with the room better. But yeah, we've got the feature wall, my lamp over there. The bed looks absolutely beautiful. There's plenty of space this side. I do feel like it is a very, very small room, as you can see, but I do feel like having that wall painted does make the room look bigger, I think. So yeah, if you see it from all the way over here, I feel like that colour sort of now defines the wall and does make it a lot bigger. It's very hard to show on camera. So yeah, the bed is beautiful, looks really, really nice, beautiful oak, really happy with it. Love the fact that you can see the wall through. I think that helps make the room look bigger as well. Got my little light fitted there with the battery light in, which you won't be able to see much now, but yeah, you can't tell it's on, but it is on. Up inside, let's see if I can show you. There it is. I've actually glued some cardboard in up there and then stuck the light onto that. I've put a few bits and bobs on the bedside table. The only thing about this black is it does show the dust pretty quickly, but yeah, I've got some rock bookends, which I just really, really like. They're agate, I just really like them. Bit of an old book, a beautiful reed diffuser that smells incredible. This is from a little company based in the Lake District called Bath House. I'm going to link them. Their stuff is absolutely stunning. All vegan, it's all handmade, it's all made in the UK. Yeah, really amazing company, and it honestly, it smells incredible. That one is called Winter Gardens. Then yeah, in this corner I've got I don't know what I've done to the bed here. I had done it all lovely. Yeah, then in this corner Oh, sun's come out. I've got this little vase, amber coloured vase, with some pampas grass in it that I already had. This bedside table, really sadly, this bedside table I think is sold out now, but look at these amazing gold metal feet. So yeah, love the black there, bit of a contrast with the wooden bed, obviously matches the lamp. Let's turn the brightness down a bit. Bedding's great. Underneath the bed I've actually stored some stuff, which is great. It's a lot higher up, this bed, which is fantastic. I've put the rug back down, this little half, well, it's obviously a full circle. I only have half of it sticking out. Okay, so then in this corner, I've actually got my bin and a folding chair. The folding chair is great. I actually already had it. I got it on, got it from a charity shop, I think. And it's great because if you did want to add in an extra bedside table over there, you could just unfold the folded chair and pop it in that corner, or you could pop it over here in this corner, and it would provide an extra space to maybe put clothes on if you had 2 guests staying. I also repainted my hooks. So I don't know if you remember, but there was some hooks here, which was a previous DIY, and I've painted them the same colour as the wall, so that they match. And I think they look great. I actually prefer this to the old colour. These were little door handles or cabinet handles I found in HomeSense. So yeah, it's so hard to film in a room this small and sort of give you a sense of how the whole room looks, but these hooks are here on this. This is the bit of the room that sort of houses the wardrobe, so. But yeah, and then over in this corner, so bright. Sunshine, shouldn't complain. So over in this corner, I've actually got this little mirror with a shelf up. Let me show you. Little ovally mirror with a shelf on it. It's got a little soap on there for my guests, which is great because it's an extra place to, you know, you get out of bed and you want to look in the mirror, or your guests want to pop anything on the shelf. I think that's a really great idea instead of another bedside table. It's already dusty. Oh my God. Then I've got my lamp that I already had in this corner. This is great. It's got a really small base, so it doesn't take up much room, which is fab. My curtains are still looking a little creased. I have steamed them and I've sprayed them with crease release, but they are linen. Then in this corner we have got, I have hung back up my macrame planter, but I've actually swapped, it was a glass ball with a fake plant in, I've actually swapped it for an actual plant pot with a real string of hearts in, which I think looks really nice, just a little bit more. It's nice to have nice real greenery in here. Then here is my DIY mirror that you might have seen over on Instagram. If you haven't, I'll pop the link in the description box. You can go and watch it. This was another DIY. Just jazzed up the existing plain white mirror that was in here. It's just a little plant down there on the floor. I'm keeping it out of the direct sunlight. Hello. But yeah, and that's it. And then obviously this lovely wall now that was an absolute mess of, you know, raw plugs and bumps and everything is just completely and utterly smooth, which means now you can lie in bed and you won't have to look at that awful wall. So yeah, there we go. That is the finished room. A few small changes. I'm really happy with the furniture most of all. I feel like just getting rid of that old bed and getting a new bed that's a little bit more compact, and also that you can see through to the wall, I think just makes the room feel a lot bigger, and I'm really happy with my feature wall colour as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, I will link as much as I possibly can. Hope you enjoyed this makeover, and I will see you again next time. Bye.